My husband and I have worked for the Kuwait embassy for 9 years. Before he died last year, he deposited $2.5 million in a bank in West Africa. I need your bank account in the United States to transfer this amount. I'm willing to pay all the fees and share the proceeds between your organization and myself. Sometimes it's the same email, you know, but it's about a man whose wife has passed away and, oh, by the way, their bank's in, I don't know, Cuba. Others want you to buy this cream that's supposed to, you know, wink, wink, make your marriage better. There's something about email, isn't there? Your inbox is full, you have to filter through the spam and all the advertisements and, the multitudinous forwards. There are two types of people in the world. Those who send forwards and those who delete forwards. But on most days, there is at least one email. One that demands your attention. One that sticks out among the rest of the "hey, what's up" emails. One that says, listen, read me. Dear David, I don't know how to frame this argument, but it's been eating away at me since the last time we talked and the subsequent emails. And looking at the rest of the Christian arguments I have been having, I can't understand this delusion religionists have. No. I was just wondering how you and the rest of the Christian sheep can live such artificial lives, so inconsistent with the world around you. What do you do with all the evidence out there, David, which all points to the inescapable fact that God doesn't exist? There's no tangible evidence, no empirical data, nothing to tell humanity that the supernatural exists. There are things that are for certain as real as the screen you see in front of you. Things that are scientifically verifiable, and religion, of course, is not one of them. Use your mind, David. God's just not there. Please think about it. Alex. I sat there taking it all in, trying to nail down where to start, figuring out how to formulate some kind of meaningful reply, only to be interrupted. It was my 5-year-old boy. He wanted to play hide and seek. I told him I needed to finish my emails, but 5-year-olds can be very persuasive at times. So there I was, between my son who wants to play a game and a friend who is telling me that my whole life is a game.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, you're not. Here I come.
The fetal position is a comfortable position, I suppose, if you're a fetus. But for a father waiting for a seemingly interminably long period of time to be found by your sons, it can be, how shall we say, a little uncomfortable. There I was, half waiting for my boys to find me, and half thinking about Alex's email. How can it be that something I see so clearly, he says he can't see at all? It's like there's millions of people who claim to have a relationship with this God, and then another million who claim he's not there at all. It's like something out of the Twilight Zone, you know. Imagine this. You go to a restaurant, say a pasta restaurant, pizza restaurant, Italian, and someone orders some food, and another buddy's sitting there, and he says, "Oh, the food is delicious." And another guy is saying, "There is no pasta. There is no food." I mean, either the pasta is there or it isn't. It's like there's two separate realities. They're having two totally different experiences. But this is an important point. God is either there or he isn't. The food is either there or it isn't. Philosophers would put it this way. They would say that the universe, at its most fundamental, elemental level, is either natural or supernatural. God either exists or he doesn't. I mean, the pasta is either there or it isn't. Now, Alex says that God is not there, but I know he is. I know he is. I know that God is there in the same way that I know I exist. In the same way that I know life is meaningful, that things like families and relationships and friendships are important. I know he's there. I know there is something more than what we see around us. There's something more. Something more.
The thing resounds when it rings true, ringing all the bells inside of you. Like a golden sky on a summer eve, your heart is tugging at your sleeve, and you cannot say why. There must be more.
As I waited for my boys to find me, that's when it hit me. Is God hiding? Maybe God isn't the variable. Maybe man is. The way I look at it, God is there, but people are having different experiences with God. Not because God is different, but because people are different. And people are at different levels of finding because they're at different levels of seeking. You see, God is the constant, man is the variable. This reminds me of something in the Hebrew Scriptures. Jeremiah. It says, "You shall seek me, and you will find me, when you search for me with all your heart." God claims he can be found. You know, maybe it's not a matter of God not being there, but of us sometimes not wanting him to be there. One of the ancient psalms goes like this: "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God." God uses the term fool here because what the person is doing is folly. He's denying God in the very place, the very room that God is revealing himself to him, namely, his heart. The psalm goes on to say, "The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men, to see if there were any that did understand and seek God." God looks down to investigate the claims of those who say there isn't a God. He looks down and says, they're distracted. Have you ever been in one of those conversations with your friends where you're looking at the clouds and someone looks up and says, "Hey, look, there's a horse. See the horse in the clouds, the tail and the mane?" And you're looking up, and of course you can't see the horse, and someone else says, "No, it's a vase, I don't know, something crazy, a microscope or something." And you're looking, and you just can't see it. But then you look up, and suddenly you can see it. And once you've seen it, you can't not see it. Maybe God is this way. Maybe once you see him, you can't not see him, and that's why those who can see him are so emphatic about his being there. It's like up in the clouds. Those who can see it, they're saying, "Right there, can't you see it? It's as plain as can be." You see, for those who aren't able to see it, there's this frustration, this source of almost disconnect. Those who can see it, they're fired up. To them it's obvious. And God is just like that. But what about those who can't? Is it because God isn't there? Is he not in the clouds? In Paul's letter to the church at Rome, he says something that's curious, unusual. He says the invisible attributes of God are clearly seen. Now think about that. The invisible is visible? This idea of God's invisibility is something the Bible writers proclaimed unashamedly. They said, yeah, God is invisible. But then they said, He can be seen. It seems paradoxical, almost contradictory, doesn't it? But it isn't. Because once you've seen Him, you can't not see Him. It's not about information, but intention. Real intention. Jesus Himself in the Gospel of John put it this way. He said, "If any man wants to do my will, then he shall know of the teaching." In other words, when it comes to knowing God and finding God and understanding His existence, I will is more important than IQ. Let me ask you this question. Why do you want to find Him? Or maybe a better question, why do you not want to find Him? See, some people wrestle with this whole question of God and His existence as if it's some kind of intellectual exercise, some kind of intellectual rubric, as if the transcendent God of the universe could somehow be put into 3.5 pounds of brain. Listen, you will find God. That's what He says. You will find me. When you stop with your shallow, cerebral motivations and intentions. When it comes to finding God, to knowing God, it's a matter of the heart. It penetrates right to the very motivations.
There is more than we can stand, standing in the glory of a love that never ends. There is more than we can guess, more and more forevermore, and not a second less. There is more than what the naked eye can see, clothing all our days with mystery, watching over everything, wilder than our wildest dreams could ever dream.